Meanwhile, I'm pleased to say that Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald joins us now for a reaction. Congressman, thank you for joining us. I want to bring you a piece that the Wall Street Journal had in their editorial board this morning. They said, quote, the IRS makes a strange house call on Matt Taibbi. The fear of many Americans is that flush with its new $80 billion in funding from Congress, the IRS will unleash its fearsome power against political opponents. Mr. Taibbi deserves to know why the agency decided to pursue him with a very strange house call. Does this sound like threats or intimidation to you?
It does. I mean, members of both Judiciary and the Committee on Weaponization, how ironic, were briefed last night at 6 p.m. And I got to be honest with you, when Congressman Jordan kind of laid out the details of what happened to Mr. Taibbi, our jaws hit the floor. We could not believe it. And in some instances, I think most of us were almost like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, what could have been going through their minds knowing that they were going to show up at the door of one of the most high-profile journalists in the nation right now as a result of the Twitter hearings? It was just unbelievable when we were briefed last night.
Yeah, and this issue of weaponization for political purposes doesn't just relate to the IRS. We've been seeing this over the last 6 or so years, the FBI, the Justice Department, other government agencies as well. Americans really feel like, American citizens that are politically connected in some ways feel like they're being unfairly targeted. What is the committee doing about this, Congressman?
Yeah, well, like as you mentioned, the letter has been forwarded, but I think what you're going to see is the Committee on Weaponization is certainly, I think, going to try and figure out if there isn't a more deliberate way of actually bringing some people in, let's put it that way, to question just what was going on, what about the timing, what about the 4-day delay in actually reaching out to him again, and what are the IRS procedures when it comes to actually showing up at somebody's home like this. So I think there's a lot more groundwork that needs to be done, but certainly there was a room full of members of Congress last night that were outraged, shocked, and surprised, and you're going to see some deliberate follow-up. There's no doubt about it.
Congressman, I want to shift gears for a second. The Biden administration is threatening to veto a House GOP-led bill to increase domestic energy production. That bill sounds like it would help people, Congressman. The president says no way to more drilling. Your reaction to how the president plans to deal with this?
Well, as a member that was directly affected by his executive orders right after he was sworn in, the Keystone Pipeline was being built by a number of people that live in and around Brownsville, Wisconsin. And I can't tell you how dramatic it was when 1,200 people lost their jobs. Listen, H.R. 1 is comprehensive. It deals with a lot of different areas of energy production that members of Congress have been focused on now for 2 years, both in the minority and now that we're in the majority. And we're confident, I think, that not only are we laying out a plan that'll make sense to the voters when we ultimately get back to the polls, but puts the president in a difficult position because there's got to be a few members of his own party that are a little leery of just outright rejecting what's in H.R. 1. So I think it's long overdue, and I think that the way we've approached it as a Republican majority is well thought out.